Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Built for the Stage podcast. This is Joe Roscoe, founder and host of Built for the Stage, Broadway's #1 fitness platform. With actors in over 20 Broadway shows and other stages across the globe, we are your online fitness platform to help you marry your journey in a career in theater with a journey in fitness. So, if you need help training like the actor athlete that you are, go to builtforthestage.com and we'll be on our way with a 7-day free trial where we'll work one-on-one on an interactive fitness app, builtforthestage.com. All right, let's get on to our special guest. So over in London about a month ago, got to see a show that was near and dear to my heart as always. You know, a typical theater kid story where you do Les Mis in like high school, or maybe you do it in community theater, or if you're as old as me, you watched like Lea Salonga doing the special concert. You know, if you're growing up in my era, Les Mis most likely was a very special show to you. So I loved being able to finally go see Les Mis in London, and I got connected with a couple of the cast members. One of them being our guest today, who's in the ensemble, and they also understudy Fantine. Really excited to meet our guest, and for you to meet our guest, please welcome to the podcast, Natalie Chua. Hey, Natalie.
Hey.
Thanks so much for joining us. It is Friday, and I believe in London it's 4 p.m. right now, right?
Yeah.
And we're getting ready. We're getting ready pretty soon for the evening show tonight. What is it like to be in such an iconic show as Les Mis?
It's a dream come true. I was, again, a typical musical theatre kid that came to see the show and looked up to actresses like Lea Salonga and wanted to be just like them. So to be in the show and be playing on stage in such an iconic set is, a dream come true. I pinch myself every day. It's one of those moments.
Yeah. And just about a little under a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, you made your Fantine debut. What was it like being on the stage, like as a kid, just going crazy about this show? And now, wow, you are on a West End stage as Fantine, like pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, it was amazing and a whirlwind. The moment that I got to stop and really let it sink in was just before I dreamed a dream. You're left on stage and it's just you and no one else. Everyone's left and you're looking upstage, so to the back of the stage, and you know the audience is behind you, and when you turn around you know that they're looking at you and no one else. And that for me was like a real big, like, this is it, Natalie. This is what you've worked so hard for.
And
so yeah, that was.
Were you able to live in the moment and enjoy it, or were you just like so caught up in like this is the moment? And were you able to kind of step back and take it in, or was it a blur? How was that first time being up there?
It was a blur. The first time that you go on, especially when you're an understudy, it's always a blur. The first show is always going to be a blur. But you enjoy it. The adrenaline kicks in. And I think that's probably what happens, is that the adrenaline just carries you through and you just let everything happen to you. The second show is a lot more aware. But yeah, the first show, it was just, you're just on a cloud, really. And it's just amazing. It's one of the most incredible feelings I think I will ever feel in my life.
Amazing. Oh, very cool. Wait, let's get into that more. So was this scheduled, or did you get the call kind of suddenly that you were going to be going on? Did you know you were going to be going on?
I was meant to go on. I knew I was going on the day after. So it was a day early when I went on. So I felt quite prepared, but just a bit more like, oh, I was expecting this tomorrow, not today. But I was really lucky because it's Thursday and we had 2 shows that Thursday. So I got the matinee and the evening. So I got to do it twice, which I was really grateful for. And so it felt like a nice start to a run of a weekend of shows.
Amazing. And Les Mis is what? What did I see? 29, 39 years? How long has it been going on?
37, I
37.
think.
37. Okay.
Years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
nearly 40,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very, you're like on a kind of like a wall of honor per se. Like there's been a lot of great people that have probably come across this show over those 37 years. So that's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Let's
a lot of them we look to.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's rewind to your start in theater. Always something that you were all about. I did see something as a kid. You were like on some TV show talking about all your boyfriends or something. That was hilarious. That was so funny. Wait, I have to assume you were performing in some way because you were on this show just acting as you were right at home in front of that camera and microphone. Tell us about that moment first. Let's tell us about that moment first.
Okay. So it was a show called Kids Say the Funniest Things. And it was presented by Michael Barrymore, a British TV presenter. And I was 6, and I was always getting told off for chatting. I was a very chatty kid, charismatic, and I was performing before that. So my dad, so I'm half Filipino and half Filipino Chinese and half Irish. My dad was from the Philippines, and he had a Filipino cultural group which I used to dance in, and that's how I started dancing and getting on stage and performing and realizing that I liked doing that. So I think from there, that's what built me up to then end up on this show at 6 years old, talking about all of my boyfriends that I had, which I don't remember having multiple boyfriends at the age of 6. But apparently I did.
Okay, so when did you have like a couple of your first performance? Like you were with your father's cultural group, you were saying. What else like kind of paved the way for you to really continue this path? Did you have a choice? Did it just feel ingrained in you like this is who I am?
Yeah, it definitely was something that has been ingrained in me. I feel like I've always wanted to do it. I always watched shows. I love music. I love dancing. I loved telling stories. So I think it was always something that was in me. And I was so lucky to have amazing parents that encouraged that as well. And the first time I was on stage, I was 2.5. And I also went to Filipino cultural dance group in London, and we did an amateur production of The King and I. And I just loved the singing and the dancing and the costumes. Oh, I wanted to be Miss Anna so badly. And yeah, and I think that's sort of where the bug sort of set in. And that was me set for life then. All I wanted to do was perform.
Right.
Yeah.
And now fast forward, you're in an iconic show like Les Mis, and in 2022, you were just at the Olivier Awards with your cast in Anything Goes. Was it your first time? Yeah. Excuse my ignorance. Was it your first time in attendance for the Oliviers? Was that your first time, or you had been before to the awards?
I had been before with Miss Saigon, which was my first West End show that I've ever done. That I ever did. And we performed there because John Briannes was nominated for an Olivier. And yeah, so that was really fun and very, very special. But it is equally as special to go on earlier this year with Anything Goes, because it was a show that was the first show I went into after the pandemic. So that show will always have a really special place in my heart because it started the ball rolling again to something that I thought I would have to say goodbye to, not knowing what was going to happen with theatre here in the UK, and well, theatre all over the world. So yeah, I was very, very grateful for that job. And so it was such a lovely celebration to be able to go on to the Olivier's and perform.
What's it like performing in the Olivier's? Because for the Tonys, I know that the cast, they get ready in their theater dressing room, like their actual dressing room. Then they bus them to the theater where the Tonys are being presented. They get off, they quickly get ready and do their performance. Then they get back on the bus and go back to the theater to change. Is that similar, or how does it work performing at the Olivier's?
Well, because we didn't have a show the day of the Olivier's, we actually got to get changed and prepare at the Royal Albert Hall where it was being held. Where other shows who did have performances that day had to go from like straight from the performance into their performance at the Olivier's. So we were really lucky. It was more after our performance, we had to quickly get changed and then back on to the bus back to Bristol, where we had a performance the next day. Or Anything Goes. So that was a bit more of a rush, but the beginning was nice. Like before going on stage, we got to actually prepare and hang out and watch other performances of shows. So it was a lovely day, beautiful day.
Okay, yeah, but here Broadway, there are no shows. It's just simply that I don't know if there's not enough room for them all or whatever. But no matter
I see.
no matter what, they're at their home theater getting ready for their Tony performance, and then they bus
Oh,
them.
right.
I know. I'm telling. They bus them to the theater where the Tonys are being held. They do their performance, and then they bus them back, just because that's just the way they do it. So I wanted to ask you if it was different. So it seems like it is, that you actually get to get ready at the theater where you're performing for the Olivier's, and
I
not.
think because you can't really predict London traffic. So I think they wouldn't want to take the risk that we'd all be stuck in traffic
Right,
trying to get from one side of London to the other.
right.
But I'm sure it's the same in New York, that the traffic is wild.
Yeah, I don't know.
And there's always that.
Yeah, they make it work somehow. So you had mentioned that your West End debut was Miss Saigon, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so you make your West End debut in Miss Saigon. You have stayed consistent in your career. There's the pandemic. How, through the ups and downs and the journey of your career, what are some practices for our listeners, young or old, that are trying to ride the wave of the peaks and valleys of a career in theater? What are some of your daily or weekly practices, habits, rituals, whatever, that have kept you grounded, no matter if you have the show, you don't have the show? Tell us a little bit about that for you.
I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned over the years is find another hobby, because when you pursue a career in what was your hobby, it then becomes your everyday work life, and it's a lot of pressure and there's a lot riding on it. So you need to find another outlet that gave you the release and the expression that you were able to find in either dancing or acting, in something else that has nothing, that's not related to what is now your career, which took me quite a while to find. And that could be anything, whether that's arts and crafts, or whether that is fitness, or an extreme sport of some sort. But to find something else that you equally love, but doesn't have the same pressure as, like, this is your job and this is your bread and butter, and you really, really need to succeed in it. I think that helps take the pressure a little. I think taking time to see family and friends, they keep you grounded, and surround yourself with really like-minded, kind people, because I think they'll be the ones to remind you that although what you are attempting to do, or what you're striving to do in this career is important, it's not your whole life. You have friends, you have family who love you regardless, because I think sometimes it can become our identity. It is, we live and breathe it, and that's exactly what you should be doing, because you love it, and that is amazing. But you can kind of forget yourself a little bit, and you need people around you to keep you grounded and bring you back and say, we love you regardless, whether you're on stage or whether you're an actress right now. You know, you need those people around you.
Yeah.
So I think that's my main two, I think, that have helped me through tough times in this industry, because it is tough. It's amazing, but it's also really tough. But you can only go through those tough times to really appreciate what you've achieved later on. And when you do get that job, when you do get on stage, when you do have that moment of, oh my God, I'm here, you remember like how tough it was, and it makes it even more important.
Yeah.
And that feeling even more deep and real.
Yeah. Without the trials, there is no triumph, for sure. And I love what you're
My
saying.
favorite saying, oh, go on.
Is your favorite saying? What is?
My favorite saying is no rain, no flowers. So
Yeah.
to be able to grow, you need the rain. And yeah.
Okay, so what are some of your balancing parts of your life that even out the theater part? You mentioned extreme sports. Do you skydive? Do you cliff dive? What do you? Are you
Oh
jumping?
no, no.
You're not jumping out of planes on your off day.
That would definitely be against my contract.
Okay, so what is it for you
No.
that keeps you grounded?
I really got into bouldering. So I've only done it indoors because that's where it's the safest. But yeah, rock climbing, bouldering, I love doing. It's the puzzle solving and the pressure of not falling off. I think those two things combined lets me escape from other things that might bother me in my life. So I found that's a really good way of, again, staying fit as well, but mentally and physically fit.
Yeah, I've only done it a few times, but you have no option but to be fully aware and committed to like what you're doing. There is no time to kind
Yeah,
of let your mind wander. You're hanging up there and you have one objective to get to the next and the next, and So I do like
yeah,
that you get lost in it in a way, for sure.
you do. And it is, you have to take each hold step by step. You do want to get to the top, but you have to concentrate on the steps before that. And I think that also as a philosophy
Right.
is a really nice thing to practice, because yeah, it is the end goal, but you also have to be present and be happy with the steps that you take to get there.
Yeah, what a metaphor in itself, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's shake it up. We're gonna have a little bit of fun here. We're gonna put you on the BFTS hot seat. So don't be nervous. We're just gonna we're gonna laugh a little bit. All right.
Okay.
So you walk into a room and the TV's on and a movie's playing on the TV that you've seen hundreds of times. But no matter how many times you see this movie, you have to stop and watch it. What is this movie?
Mulan.
Okay, amazing.
Easy.
Good
Yeah.
start. You are commuting to the theater or running errands or wherever, and you're kind of dragging and you need to pick me up. What song is your go-to song to like get you feeling good?
Oh God, that's hard. Misery Business by Paramore.
Okay, amazing. Okay. You
Okay.
you're reincarnated on this earth as an animal. Which animal are you going to be and why?
Okay. I absolutely love pandas. Um, so, but I'm very feline-like, but I'll have to say pandas. They have the best life. They're just very chilled, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, eating seafood.
You you have your list of superheroes that are known on in movies or comics or whatever. Which superhero are you going to be and why?
Okay, Iron Man.
Okay,
Um,
tell me.
because he wasn't born strong. Um, he uses what's around him to create a superhero.
Mm,
It's his intelligence, his resourcefulness, and I quite like that about Iron Man doing
cool.
stuff.
You have a time machine and
Okay.
you can go to any place at any time in history or the future.
Ooh.
Where are you going to go?
Oh God. Um. Oh God, that's really hard. Ah, I would love to be in London in the 1980s, I think, uh, because I love the music, the fashion, the rebellion, rebelliousness of that era, and I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Okay. Theater question. You maybe you've already played it, but a role that's like a dream role or a role you'd love to play, or that maybe you typically wouldn't play. Even whatever role, it's infinite possibilities. What role would you want to
Oh,
play?
um, oh, okay. Oh gosh, that's so hard.
Maybe top three if you're trying to select a couple.
Okay, top three. I'd love to play Mary Poppins. That's like a childhood dream. Uh, Fontaine is up there.
Okay.
I've yeah, I get to go on for her. Um, oh gosh, I would love to play a role that is kind of is new and
Hmm.
different.
Got it.
Um, yeah, so some new writing to be able to make a character my own, and tell their story. I think, yeah,
Cool.
if that
Congrats.
counts.
That was amazing. Congratulations. You're off the hot seat. You nailed it. Good
Woo.
job. Okay, wait. Let's get into the new works. Do you dabble in anything in the theater scene that's not performance based? Writing, directing, design. Do you have any interest in any of that as well?
I would love to. I would love to definitely maybe direct a couple of things. I have a lot of ideas. But I also really love the costume and wig side of theatre as
Mhm.
well. And I'm currently learning how to make and knot and style wigs.
Okay.
So that is also another interest um, in theatre that I love. But yeah, I think I'm not currently involved in any directing or staging, but that's
Yeah.
definitely something that I'd be interested in. Um, yeah,
Nice. On the wig side of things and the costumes, very cool that you're starting to learn that stuff. We had talked about it before the recording that during the pandemic, you yourself were doing interviews. You were on the other side of the microphone here, and you were the one conducting some interviews with professionals within the theater that weren't performers, but on the offstage side of things. Tell us a little bit about that, or maybe some cool things you learned, or just that experience.
yeah, yeah. I during the pandemic, I really wanted to put the spotlight on the army that it takes to put on a show. Actors are just the tip of the iceberg that you see on stage, but there's so much more. So much more magic happens backstage. And so I spoke to set designers, wig makers, wig designers, costume designers, lighting designers, because they have all trained at their craft and are incredible creatives in their own right. And I just wanted to show people that there are other careers other than what they see on stage in theatre, and that it's such a wonderful industry that provides so many different skills and so many different jobs for people. So yeah, that's why I wanted to do the interviews, and I've made friends along the way who are so kind to take time out and talk to me on Instagram about their amazing careers, and all different ages as well. And you learn so much just talking to people, and I you must get this as well, just learning about how people start out and what avenues there are and how their minds work. And I think that's amazing, and everyone is very different in every single department. So yeah, it was an honor to interview people and talk to them about what they love and how they got into it.
Yeah, I first got into podcasts a lot. There's an entrepreneur podcast called How I Built This from NPR. The host is Guy Raz, and just it was cool to see all of these famous founders of these brands that we all knew so well, but we didn't really know the people behind it and their stories. And that's really where this podcast for Built for the Stage started, was that I started training these Broadway performers and getting to know them. And I'm like, wow, like all we get to see is you up on stage as like some other person. We don't really get the chance to really get your story. So that's where this started. Instagram live story for you, or not story, question. How annoying is the hookup for the Instagram live when you're waiting for your guests to come on? Like, isn't it the worst? It's just the worst.
It is. It is. And I hadn't really spoken outside of acting online, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm not usually great when I don't have a script and playing a role, because I think I'm quite like naturally a bit of a awkward, quirky person. So to talk as myself was quite strange. But and yeah, waiting for guests to come on is the most awkward thing I think I've ever done.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, Instagram, figure this out. Like you have some of the best technicians in the whole world. Like you can't figure this out. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, last question for you. I really appreciate your time. Someone that you've come across in your life, a mentor in theater or not, or an experience. What's just something that you take with you in any show or any part of your life? You had mentioned like without the rain, there are no flowers. Just something like that that we can leave the listeners with, because this is a podcast for hopefully a lot of inspiration. So what have you picked up along your journey so far?
I think whatever you do, whatever job you do, whether that's in theatre or not, always be kind to the people around you. You never know what anyone's going through, and you never know when you're going to meet them again, and you might need their kindness. And I think always put 110% into it. You have to be in it to win it. And I think if your heart's not in it for this, especially to go on stage, then it'll be even more difficult. You have to put your whole heart into it. Otherwise, people can tell. And it's one of those industries that we are very fortunate that we are allowed to put our full selves in, our hearts and our souls into what we do. Not every job is like that. So you have to take every opportunity and put 110% of you in it.
Yeah, I love that. It's a very special honor to be on stage, to perform, to play.
Yeah.
If you want to have that special opportunity, you have to put forth special effort. And that's something definitely to hold tight to.
I think that will also help you stay true to yourself, which is also another thing. Like, be authentic, true to yourself, and stay grounded.
Yeah. Natalie, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's so cool.
It was lovely. All right. Have a great day. Thanks so
And
much.
you.
All right, everyone. Natalie Chua. Make sure you give Natalie a follow on Instagram at Natalie_Chua1. That'll be in the description of this episode. Right now she's in the ensemble of Les Mis, also understudying Fontaine, living the dream. I dreamed a dream in time gone by. She also said something about like she was like on a cloud, and I was gonna do a punny reference to Castle on a Cloud, but I didn't want to be too cheesy, so I'll just do it alone. Even though she's backstage right now, she can hear me saying this, and I can see her laughing. But yeah. Anyways, I'll stop rambling. Joe Roscoe here from Built for the Stage. If you want to try that free trial, go to builtforthestage.com. Be greatly appreciated if you spread the good word and follow us on the gram at Built for the Stage. All right. Actors or athletes, train like one. Later.